Dragon Ball DAIMA just did a massive retcon, and Tamagami number 3 is an absolute weakling. Let's talk about that in today's breakdown of Dragon Ball DAIMA Episode 8. My name is Tony. I'm a nerd about the Japanese language. I've done translation interpretation. I have a master's degree in Japanese language and linguistics, and I spend my time analyzing Dragon Ball and anime stuff. So if you're into that sort of thing, make sure to like, comment, and show me some support by subscribing. So let's get into it. Here is my breakdown of Dragon Ball DAIMA Episode 8. Number 1, Tamagami number 3 was an absolute weakling, or was he? First of all, I want to mention that I really enjoyed the fight. However, I did think that it was rather anticlimactic. The fight was quite short. I was hoping for something a bit more epic, something with a bit more struggle for Goku. Instead, he completely outmatched Tamagami number 3 once he went Super Saiyan 2. Very cool, great animation, but story-wise, just a little bit anticlimactic. And then we got the whole 3 cups thing, that game thing. Again, rather anticlimactic. I didn't particularly like that, but still enjoyed the fight. So how strong is Tamagami number 3? Well, it seems that Tamagami number 3 is probably somewhere between Super Perfect Cell and Majin Buu, right? But probably on the lower end of the spectrum, because Pansy states that not even Dabura was able to defeat Tamagami number 3. According to Dragon Ball Z, it's stated that Dabura is roughly the strength of Cell, right? And it's not stated if they meant Super Perfect Cell or whatever Cell, but largely in the fandom, I think people agree that it's either Super Perfect Cell or Perfect Cell. But the important thing to note here is that that statement in Dragon Ball Z was made after Dabura got a power boost. We don't know how much of a power boost, but some level of power boost due to becoming Majin Dabura by being possessed by Babidi. So, the question is, when did Dabura fight the Tamagami number 3? Was it before the power boost or after the power boost? We don't know, but I think it's pretty safe to say that Tamagami number 3 is probably stronger than Super Perfect Cell, and that means that Goku, even in his kid form at Super Saiyan 2, is significantly stronger than Super Perfect Cell. But in order to get more information, we're just going to have to wait until Goku or whoever fights Tamagami number 2, and then maybe we can make some more comparisons and place Tamagami number 3 there. But it stands to reason that Tamagami number 2 will be stronger than Tamagami number 3, and then Tamagami number 1 will be stronger than Tamagami number 2, and then the final boss will be stronger than all of them. So it makes sense that, yes, Tamagami number 3 would be stronger than Super Perfect Cell, but not like significantly stronger, because they need to leave some room there for the other Tamagami. Now, let's go back to the 3 cups thing. Again, I didn't like it that much because it was rather anticlimactic. Up until now, we've been told that it's pretty much a fight, right? Like whoever's stronger can get the Dragon Ball that is held by the Tamagami. And yeah, Goku won, but then he got that kind of a trick at the end. It's like, actually, I'm not going to give it to you. You need to defeat me in this game. This is really reminiscent of Dragon Ball GT in the Shadow Dragon / Ultimate Dragon arc, when the 5th Dragon Ball, the 7th Dragon Ball, Goku and Pan are trying to get them, and then they defeat the dragon, but then the dragon's like, yeah, here you go. Oh, actually, there's more to it. There's a trick. There's a little, extra to it. Actually, they're not going to hand it over, right? So same kind of thing. Maybe it's probably a conscious kind of reference, but, maybe it's not. I don't know. Anyway, the important thing here is that there seems to be more to this whole, getting the Dragon Balls from the Tamagami than just, being stronger and defeating the Tamagami. And this is heavily implied by the statement that the Tamagami makes after Goku and Glorio and Pansy and Nahare start to leave, right? So he's like, you're a fair fighter, and I do your best against the other opponents. He says something like that. So why would Tamagami be rooting for Goku? Why would he be calling him a fair fighter? Why is this important to the Tamagami? Well, perhaps Neva, who created the Tamagami, implemented this kind of failsafe so that you can't just be strong. You can't be evil and strong and win all of the Dragon Balls, right? There has to be more to it. Perhaps there's some element of being pure of heart or being a witty, smart person, something else, right? You can't just be an evil, super strong demon and just, wish for whatever you want, right? That was kind of Neba's backup plan, perhaps? Why would he do that? I don't know. But until we get more backstory on Neva, we won't know. But to me, that reaction of Tamagami number 3 seems to imply that. Number 2, Arinsu was on Earth during the Majin Vegeta and Majin Buu fight. So first of all, I want to mention that this was foreshadowed in episode 1 of Dragon Ball DAIMA. There's a part where Degesu and Goma are talking to Warp-sama, and Warp-sama's like, oh, that part of space is quite popular lately. And they find out that Dr. Arinsu had been there somewhat recently. And why had she been there? Well, she had been there to, see what was going on with Majin Buu, and maybe, I don't know that she could have predicted that she would be able to get a piece of flesh of Majin Buu, but I assume that she had some idea that maybe she could somehow harness Majin Buu to get rid of Dabura and become the Demon King or something. So something that would be advantageous for her. It just ended up being that she was at the right place at the right time after Majin Vegeta blows himself up and blows up Majin Buu, and thus she's able to get one of the fragments of flesh that she ends up using and giving to Marba in order to create a new Majin Buu. Now, you may be thinking, I'm sure there are some people that hate this. They hate any retcon. But here's the thing. Yes, some retcon are horrible and they can ruin a story because they ruin a character's motivations. But I don't think that's the case here. I think this is a good retcon. It doesn't change the importance of Majin Vegeta sacrificing himself for the sake of others, right? It doesn't change his character arc. It doesn't affect that in any way. Instead, what it does is it connects Dragon Ball Z to Dragon Ball DAIMA in an organic way, right? Some of the best stories that we've gotten in Dragon Ball in general are the ones that are like direct connections back to like the previous story, right? They are organic consequences of what happened in the previous story. I think the best examples are like Raditz coming, and then that leading to Vegeta and Nappa coming, and then that leading, of course, to the Frieza Namek saga. Like, that's all organic. The consequences of the events before lead to the events after. And now Buu, up until now, like the Buu saga hasn't really led to anything, right? Yeah, Majin Buu has been around and did a couple things here and there, and he made Beerus angry and all that stuff. Yeah. But that hasn't really organically led to an important story in any significant way like we've seen in previous sagas. Now, the Majin Buu saga is organically leads into Dragon Ball DAIMA, and I love this. Now, I may not love it if Dragon Ball DAIMA doesn't have a good ending, but for the time being, I think this is an excellent retcon. I have no complaints. Number 3, we found out the true creator of Majin Buu. It's not Babidi, it's Marba. So Marba, let's talk about her name for just a moment. I haven't been able to get like 100% confirmation about her name origin, but I think I figured it out. So Marba, in English, I've seen it written as Marba, but no, like the name doesn't make sense. At least my interpretation doesn't make sense if you add an R. Now, that is an acceptable translation because of the way Japanese works. Sometimes when you have a long vowel, you end up inserting an R there in English because there's no R sound in Japanese. So Marba, okay, fine. It's okay to do it as Marba, but actually for my explanation here, if you add the R, it doesn't make sense. So Marba probably comes from demon old woman. Okay, so Ma as in Majin and what else? Akuma. Actually, the Ma in Akuma is the same, right? So demon or devil, Ma is at the beginning of her name. And then Ba probably comes from Baba. Baba is this word that means old hag, old woman. It's not a nice word. And that Baba, the Ba at the end is a long vowel. So what probably happened here is they took that long vowel and put it after the Ma. And so it became Marba rather than Maba. Okay, so Marba. So again, that long vowel, that's why they add the R in English, probably, right? That's the logic there. That's what happens when you go from English to Japanese / Japanese to English. So literally, it's just like demon old woman. By the way, that same Ba, okay? So if you remember the character Uranai Baba, it's that same Ba, right? Same thing there. Except in her case, it's not Uranai Baba, it's Uranai Baba. And it can be Baba or Baba. Either one is fine. They're both basically the same word, just different pronunciation. So let's talk about Marba. So apparently she's the one that created Majin Buu at the behest of Babidi, because Babidi is not strong enough. He doesn't possess the ability to do that. However, Marba wants to keep that a secret for whatever reason. I don't know. She's extremely powerful, it seems, but for whatever reason, she's scared of having the larger demon realm find out that she's the one that created Majin Buu. Also, Majin Buu was a failure because they couldn't control him. Okay, so the point was to create a strong being that could be controlled. And because he couldn't be controlled, he went wild. And as Arinsu says, it seems that he ended up killing some Glindians in the process. And Majin Buu running amok may have been, if not the reason, one of the reasons that the Glindians went into Exodus, right? They left the demon realm and went to the human realm. We don't know all the details yet, but that's what Arinsu's statement seems to indicate. Further, we also find out that, Arinsu wants to become Demon King. She wants the Dragon Balls for something, and she's promising Marba something in return for her help in creating a new Majin Buu. What that is and what Marba could possibly want, I have no idea, but the plot thickens, as they say. Number 4. Arinsu and Marba may have been the ones that created Glorio. So, as I stated in my episode 6 breakdown, we're getting a lot of hints that, in the video I called Glorio a Jinzo Ningen, an android, but however, maybe he's a Majin or some kind of Majin demon hybrid, and it may be the case that Arinsu created him using Marba's powers. So we do see that Glorio is very subservient to Arinsu. He's being very polite when he speaks to her. He calls her Arinsu-sama. Lord Arinsu is one way to translate that, but that shows that he's being extremely respectful to her. And again, this whole creating a new Majin Buu thing involved creating something that will be very controllable. That is the priority. They are saying, yes, he has to be powerful, but he also has to be controllable, because the last Majin Buu was not controllable and was a failure, right? And also, that's why Arinsu spits into the potion thing, whatever, this Majin Buu thing that they're creating, because that will allow her to control Majin Buu, or the new Majin Buu, telepathically, potentially, right? It seems that she won't be able to, it seems that she won't have to actually say her commands. She'll be able to communicate, mentally with this new Majin Buu. So, being that Glorio is powerful, but not that strong, right? Like, Goku was able to defeat him very easily once he turned Super Saiyan. So that shows that, Glorio is stronger than most Demon Realm inhabitants, but he's not that strong compared to Goku or even Tamagami Number 3 or even Dabura, potentially. And Arinsu says that the last creation that they made was not able to defeat her, supposedly, in battle, right? He wasn't strong enough to defeat her. So that checks out, right? Like, Glorio is strong, but he's possibly not as strong as her, because he's not as strong as Dabura, right? So Arinsu is under Dabura, and Glorio would be under Arinsu. Okay, so if this turns out to be the case, and again, we've gotten a lot of hints that Glorio is some kind of artificial life form. So I'm sticking with this theory. I think that Glorio is going to play an important role. He may be a double crosser. So he is obviously setting up Goku to get the Dragon Balls, and then they're going to steal the Dragon Balls, it seems, right? That's the plan that Arinsu has. However, given that the androids have a history of betraying their creator, right, maybe Glorio is going to do this as well. And I'm also going to speculate that perhaps he's going to end up fusing with Goku in some way, and maybe the fusion bug, the join bug, allows 3 people to fuse. And that would grant this new entity magic powers, plus the strength of, let's just say Vegeta and Goku, right? Because maybe they're going to need magic to defeat the final boss. It won't be enough to just use their key attacks. They'll need some kind of magic. And even though Glorio is not strong enough to defeat even Tamagami Number 3 by himself, he does possess magical powers that could be an asset to whatever the fusion is at the end of the series that's going to take down the final boss. Now, I will just state that in episode 4, when the Kutsuki Mushi or join bug is introduced, it is explicitly stated that when 2 people eat the bug, they fuse. However, that doesn't doesn't necessarily mean that 3 people can't eat it, right? They might just go like, well, only 2 people can eat the bugs. Then Goku says, well, I don't know, maybe 3 people can do it. Give it a shot, right? Then they just give it a shot and it turns out to work, right? So I think that's totally plausible, and I'm eager to find out how that will all play out, but I suspect we won't find out much more about this aspect of the story until quite a bit later, once we start to see like the double cross start to happen on Glorio's part. Number 5. It seems that the M on Majin Vegeta's forehead and Majin Dabura's forehead is actually not an M for Majin, it's an M for Marba. So as we see in that scene with Arinsu and Marba, she has that M on her like chest area, right? So why would that be? Well, it seems that that's her like signature or symbol or magic insignia or something. I don't know what the appropriate word is because we don't exactly know what it is. But here's the thing, that's perhaps kind of a plot hole / doesn't really make sense. And I'm going to go super like linguistic nerd here, because in episode 2, we get that note that the demons that steal Glorio's ship leave behind. And so we see what the writing of the demon realm is like. It's just Japanese backwards. So then that M being an M, like a Roman alphabet M, doesn't make sense, right? Like, wouldn't it be a backwards Japanese like word or something, right? Like ma, it would be ma in Japanese backwards. but apparently, I don't know. Maybe it's like Superman in Man of Steel, right? The S on his, I think his chest or his cape, right? The S that is his kind of symbol isn't actually an S. That is the symbol for hope on Krypton, right? So maybe that's not an actual M. It's just a symbol that somehow represents Marba, right? So I'm just going to go with that as my headcanon for the time being. All right, so it's time for the review. I'm going to give this episode of Dragon Ball DAIMA another 8 out of 10. Just because I was kind of disappointed by the fight. I was expecting something a bit more epic, something with more of a struggle for Goku. And again, I want Vegeta and Piccolo and yeah, even Bulma to play a more important part of the story. I want them to start traveling with Goku and more character interactions, because let's face it, like Vegeta has done nothing in the story so far. Vegeta hasn't even had that many lines. Like, he's just quiet there frowning. And I don't like how Vegeta is being completely sidelined in this story so far, but I'm looking forward to seeing him have a more important role in the story, and it seems like they will be meeting up either in the next episode or the one after that. So 8 out of 10. I was hoping for a little bit more, but I am still very happy with what we're getting. And yeah, what do you think? Are you enjoying Dragon Ball DAIMA? What do you think about these massive retcons that we're getting? Do you like what happened with Tamagami number 3, the fight? Are you looking forward to the further fights? Or are you just fed up with Dragon Ball DAIMA? You think it's just a lazy rehash, blah, blah, blah. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, because I will be back with my next breakdown, and I'm slowly catching up to where the series is. So, see ya in the next one.